Hey guys, Scott Beebe, My Business on Purpose. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing great. Was away for a couple of days and back at it today. Been able to have the opportunity to be in some client meetings all throughout the day here in the studio. So it's been kind of a home day, or a home office day, I should say. But what I find is when I'm at the home office, I really don't get outside of the office that much. In fact, I need to remind myself to go for walks and just to go breathe outside a little bit. Hey, I wanted to share something with you. I heard from a client today, and wow, I was really bothered by it. It's a business owner, and they were going through a situation where they had an employee. Basically, the business owner wanted to lay out a process for the employee based on the role that they had put out there, and the employee just simply said, I don't have to do it your way. I want to do it my way. And in fact, based on the terms of our employment, legally, I don't have to do it your way. I can only do it, or I only need to do it my way. And when I was listening to that and just kind of hearing the scenario, I thought, what a sour attitude to be able to look at it like that. And as a business owner, you may have some people in your organization that when you lay out both the job role and also the process for that person to be able to follow, not only is it in their best interest because it'll help you kind of grow the firm or the business, but also it's really in the firm's best interest as well and in your client's best interest, because as your business can grow, obviously it's going to be able to serve people in a unique way. And so if you've got a team member who's really got a sour attitude about following a particular process, a particular step-by-step approach to whatever it might be, the first thing obviously is you want to check your own kind of mindset, your own spirit, to make sure that you're not doing something that is completely offensive to them. And so let's assume that's not the case, that you have not done something that's completely offensive to them, and you genuinely are saying, hey, this is a process that we need to be able to operate this business in line with what the vision is that we've laid out for the company long term. And this employee is just saying, no, I don't want to do that way. I'm offended when you tell me how to do things step by step when I just want to do them my own way. So how do you respond to that situation? Well, I think you have to do a couple of different things. I heard this statement from somebody, and I thought it was really powerful. I've been sharing this with people, and it's really not off-putting at all when you respond to somebody and say, hey, here's what I see, all right? Now, if I came to you and said otherwise, and I was sharing this with some guys last week, it was really powerful, but like this shirt that I have on, it looks like it's red and blue. And so if I were to tell you what I see is a red and blue shirt that I'm wearing versus I hate that red and blue shirt. I think that red and blue shirt looks horrible. Well, the first statement I gave you is, I see you're wearing a red and blue shirt. That's just simply an I see statement. It's an observation, right? There's really no reason for you to get upset with me about that. But if I looked at you and said, hey, I hate red and blue plaid shirts, then that's more of an opinion statement. And now you might be kind of in a situation where you're potentially offending somebody. And so when you're leading team members, what you always want to be careful of saying is, hey, this is how I feel, or whatever, delivering opinions. And instead, you want to pivot and start to use language like this. Hey, here's what I see. So if you've got an employee with somewhat of a sour attitude, instead of saying, hey, you've really got a sour attitude, and they get defensive, they put up their gloves and they want to start boxing, instead, take another approach. Hey, I wanted to let you know this is what I've been observing. It's really hard to get upset with you when you just simply state what you've been seeing and what you simply have been observing in favor of, hey, I hate that shirt, or you've got a sour attitude, or whatever. So as the business owner, you need to watch the tone and the verbiage that you use when you're having this kind of conversation. But at the same time, you need to look at the team member and help them to understand, hey, this is where we're going as a business. That's why vision is so important, by the way. And also, here are the things that we value as a business. I had a client recently as one of their unique core values. And by the way, if you've not heard that term before, I believe in something different than regular core values. I believe in something called a unique core value. And I lay it out in episode, I think it's 48 of the Business on Purpose podcast. You can go listen to that and hear more detail about that. But it's not things like integrity or responsibility. We should all have those. I want to know, what do you uniquely core value? One of my clients recently came up with this core value: clutch performance. We uniquely value a clutch performance. Now, here's what's crazy. I don't. Like the idea of last second shots, man, I get sweats high. I mean, I just don't get into that stuff. But some people who love competition, they're high D personalities on the disc, they really get into that stuff. We need to be aware of your personality when you're having these conversations, but you also need to take the conversation back to what I call a scapegoat. This is going back to your unique core value to say, hey, I realize that, here's what I see based on what you've told me. One of the reasons I'm asking you to do this is not because of me necessarily, and this is what I prefer, but it's because it's what's going to, in line with our values, help us get to our vision. So I transition it from me and this person-to-person kind of back and forth potential emotional boxing match, and I transition and pivot that to something that is unemotional, non-personal. It's just something that's written on a paper that you wholeheartedly believe. So what do you do when an employee just kind of says, no, I'm not going to do it that way, or I get offended when you tell me to do it that way? Again, the first thing, take ownership of it. Ask yourself, hey, what was my tone of the outlay? Typically, what ends up happening is we've said something either the wrong way or with the wrong tone, but not all the time. And one of the things that we want to do is pivot back and basically come back to the employee and essentially say, hey, listen, based on our core values, based on the vision of where this company is going, one of the reasons I've laid out this process as I've laid it out is because it's going to help us to get to the end game of our vision. Here's what I see. What I see is that the process could move this way. And what I also see is that the way that you've responded to this situation, you feel upset about this. And so you kind of put them on a neutral playing field rather than getting their boxing gloves up. And you spend some time digging down into what you observe and then trying to pivot that back to what you can do to make that right. But then there may come a time where, you know what, that employee, it's just tough. It's a tough situation. They might not fit the culture of what you're trying to build there. And I know we don't like to talk about that, but at the end of the day, as business owners, it's your job to make sure that you got the right people in the right seat for the right purpose so that you can achieve the vision of your business, all right? And sometimes people are just misplaced. It's not that they're bad people. They're great people with great skills. They're just misplaced, and they need to be in another situation, in another setup. I've seen that happen a whole lot in talking with business owners, is you'll have a business owner that has a person in the team or on the team, and it just seems like a kind of a misfit. I'm not saying a misfit. I'm saying a misfit or a misalignment to the fit. But when you look around at other businesses that are going on, you go, wait a second, this actually would be a great team member to go on that team over there. And so you see it in sports all the time. You get a guy like Randy Moss, who, he puts up great personal highlights at Minnesota Vikings, but then he goes to the New England Patriots, delivers for a team, and they can go on and win a Super Bowl with that. And so trying to align team members is really, really important. But if you've got an employee with a sour attitude, go back to your vision and your core values, but then I would also take a look and say, hey, are they a right fit for what we're trying to achieve here? So, hey, Dave, Warren, Alan, Derek, I see you guys on there. Great to see you guys. Hope this has been of help to you. I know a lot of you guys either have employees on your team, you're all business owners, you've got employees on your team, or you've got other referral agents, people who are helping you out. But just realize that when you've got somebody who's got this kind of put off, sour attitude, et cetera, there's ways that you can manage that. First, go back to the vision, mission, values, and then you can come back and talk about the actual tone and the verbiage that you use. But remember, those two statements, really powerful statements. Katie Dalzell, come on, another business owner, really powerful statements that you can be using to be able to transition kind of a sour attitude employee. The first statement is, here's what I see. Again, it's not a personal attack. It's not a, I hate your t-shirt. It's a, hey, I see you're wearing a t-shirt. You're just making a kind of an impersonal observation. And then the second follow-up to that is, here's what I need you to do. So here's what I see. And based on what I see, here's what I need you to do to transition that. But make sure as a business owner that what you see and what you're asking them to do lines up directly with the vision of the business that you've laid down and the core values that you've laid down for your business. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I just heard that come up anonymously from a client this week. And I thought, man, this is something I want to be able to respond to, because I know there are a lot of you business owners who may be out there who are thinking, yes, I've got employees that seem to kind of have a sour attitude, or they try to butt up against every process that we lay out. And also when it comes to process, also be careful of how you lay that process out. It may be a situation where you need to build the process together, and that way they've got buy-in into the process. That might be helpful as well. We've seen that work a lot. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, wherever you're at in the world. And I'll be back on in the next couple of days. We'll talk about some other hot topics. Hey, feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook or email me. If there's anything from a business owner perspective you need help with, this is a great platform for me to be able to respond to those, so a lot of people can gain value from that as well. While you're up there, check out the Business on Purpose podcast. We've got some great guests, some great episodes that have been coming out lately. And a couple episodes ago, it was the 7 steps to anxiety-free hiring. Listen, if you're hiring a full-time W-2 employee, a part-time contract, a virtual assistant, I don't care what it is. If you're hiring any of those, go follow those steps. In fact, if you go, I think on our website, or there's some Facebook posts going around right now where you can download that PDF completely for free, that we've got that out right now. Our 7 steps to anxiety-free hiring for your business. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.